What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Triple Z. I'm your host, Isaiah Henry. The New York Knicks advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 24 years, destroying the Boston Celtics in Game 6, 119-81. Everyone wrote the Knicks off before this series even started, including myself, and it was based off of what we saw during the regular season. The Knicks were a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference, but anytime they faced better competition, the Celtics, the Cavs, OKC, the Knicks didn't convince anyone that they were in the same atmosphere as those other teams. Specifically against Boston, the Knicks got swept during the regular season series 4-0. It was blowout after blowout after blowout after blowout. And the Boston Celtics are a team that likes to exploit other teams' weaknesses, and they like to hunt matchups. And Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns were at the top of that matchup list. The Celtics would put those two players in a lot of pick and roll. If Cat was out of position or backpedaling, the Celtics would attack him downhill. And if he was deep in drop coverage, the Celtics would just shoot the three right in his face. And with Brunson being the smallest player for the New York Knicks, Tatum and Brown would get the switch and try to wear him down physically. But I guess the regular season doesn't matter. What was the record for the Knicks? They were 0-10, 0-11, or 12. Going up against like the Cavs, OKC, Nuggets, Celtics, whatever the teams were. I guess it didn't matter because here they are advancing to the conference finals for the first time in 24 years. The Knicks completely flipped the script. The Knicks winning those first two games in Boston on the road was imperative to them winning the series ultimately in 6 games. Overcoming 20-point deficits, scratching and clawing their way back into those games, taking advantage of the Celtics shooting poorly from three. Because remember, the Celtics, while they were a great three-point shooting team in the regular season, that did not translate in the postseason. The first 2 games, they shot 25 of 100 from behind the three-point line. And the Knicks had the game plan. Have the game close so we can give the ball to our best player, Jalen Brunson, clutch player of the year, and he can take us home. And Jalen Brunson did that in both fourth quarters of the first 2 games. He did that in the first 2 games. Offensively, he created enough of a gap where the Knicks had the lead, and then ultimately when the Celtics had the final possessions in both game 1 and 2, Mikal Bridges sealed the game with big defensive plays. He had the steal on Jaylen Brown where he can't even get a shot up, and then he had the steal on Jason Tatum in game 2. And with the Knicks having a 2-0 lead against the reigning champs, the Boston Celtics, the conversations started to shift a little bit. Because now we had to start thinking, oh, the Knicks can win this series and potentially cause an upset. Like this was a massive upset. Nobody gave the Knicks a chance in this series. Like if you look at all the ESPN analysis and what their predictions and who they picked for the series, everyone picked the Celtics. Everyone picked the Celtics, and it was based, like I said, on the regular season, the performance from the New York Knicks in the regular season. But that didn't matter to New York Knicks. And I remember Jalen Brunson going on his podcast with Josh Hart saying they were aware of the record and how they played against the better teams. It didn't matter. It did not matter. They stuck with it, and they had faith in their team. Game 6, the Knicks knew not to mess around. They knew the magnitude of that game because they were 1 win away from their first conference finals in 24 years, but then they were also 1 loss away from going back to TD Garden on the road for Game 7, where it's at a flip of a coin. And honestly, if the Knicks lost Game 6, the Celtics would have all the momentum going into Game 7. So the Knicks did what they were supposed to do, won the game, dominated the Celtics, literally kicked their asses. This game was over by halftime. The game was over by halftime. The Knicks played great and had some great individual performances. 6 players scored in double figures. OG Anunoby, 23 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. His scoring was inefficient in this series. Had games where he scored 20 points, but then he also had games he scored 7, 9 points. But defensively, he was always consistent, and the impact is always there, whether it was getting steals, blocks, turnovers, being a great help defender. He had to guard Tatum and Brown for majority of this series, and he even had to, make up for the Knicks having mishaps defensively. Like OG Anunoby was always there to clean up the mess. Josh Hart, triple-double, 10 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists. One of the best coast-to-coast players in the NBA. As soon as Josh Hart grabs a rebound off the glass, he's so smart and intelligent that he scans the floor. If he sees an opportunity where he can get to the other side and score at the rim, he will take it. Or if he can get downhill, and then kick it out to a shooter like a Jalen Brunson or OG Anunoby or Mikal Bridges, he does that as well. Great rebounder, never gives up on the play. He is the heart and soul of this New York Knicks team. He did a great job of also adjusting, right? Because the Celtics would put either Al Horford or Kristaps Porzingis to guard Josh Hart. And Josh Hart, I mean, he took the opportunities when the three-point shot was there. He was attacking closeouts. And with Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis, sagging off of Josh Hart because they don't deem him as a threat from the outside, they were more closer to the rim. I mean, as soon as the shot went up, Josh Hart has the best advantage because he gets to track down that ball and just crash the offensive glass, which gave the Knicks more opportunities to be more productive. Karl-Anthony Towns, 21 points, 11 rebounds, overpowering any Celtics player who guarded him. A lot of ball fakes from the top of the key, which would force defenders to leave their feet, and then Karl-Anthony Towns would just put it on the deck and just finish around the rim. Him shrugging his shoulders, basically saying, you guys can't guard me. I'm too strong for you. Anytime I want to get to the rim, I can do that at my own will. And he's making his second straight conference finals appearance. Last year with the Minnesota Timberwolves, this year with the New York Knicks. That has to mean something. And honestly, it means that you can win with Karl-Anthony Towns on your team. I know people like to troll him. I know he's not a great defensive anchor, but you can win at a high level with Karl-Anthony Towns. So shout out to him. Mikal Bridges, 23 points, 4 of 6 from 3. Those 5 first-round picks look worth it right now. Leon Rose, you did your job. Those 5 first-round picks look so worth it. He was really good in this series. Defensively, obviously, he had the steal on Jaylen Brown in game 1 and then the block on Jason Tatum in game 2. But then he found his rhythm offensively in key moments throughout the series, spacing the floor, relocating off the ball, mid-range was on full display, and he seems to play with a joy anytime he's on the court. So shout out to Mikal Bridges. And then the captain, Jalen Brunson, 23.6 assists. He was everything for the New York Knicks in this series. Like I said, the game plan was to keep the game close so you can give the ball to the clutch player of the year. He delivered time and time and time again. No moment, no challenge is too big for Jalen Brunson. He's the definition of the man in the garden. And Stephen A. Smith said it, last night, that if Jalen Brunson wins a title with the New York Knicks, he's a top 3 Knicks player of all time. I disagree. If Jalen Brunson wins a championship with the New York Knicks, he's the greatest Knicks player ever. Straight up. I remember Becky Hammon said that you couldn't win with Jalen Brunson because he's a small guard. I never could get down with that because, and mind you, I wasn't even on board when the Knicks signed him originally. I wasn't on board with that. But after watching his first season in New York, I was like, oh, this makes sense. This makes sense. And ever since then, I said to myself, he was a 1A player on a championship team. And, I mean, his team is one of the Final 4 teams, with an opportunity to win an NBA championship. I'm not going to say it's impossible because the Knicks have a really good chance of winning an NBA championship. If Jalen Brunson wins a title, he's the greatest Knicks player of all time. Melo was great. Hall of Famer Patrick Ewing, John Starks. Yeah, I get that. Jalen Brunson will be the greatest Knicks player if he wins a title for the New York Knicks. Deuce McBride played great off the bench as well. Anytime he shoots a 3, you're going to hear the New York Knicks fans say Deuce, and he made a couple of 3s in this game, had some big defensive plays, had that chase down block on Derek White, had a putback dunk as well. He was absolutely amazing. Mitchell Robinson, I don't care about the free throws. We're going to forget about that. He was so impactful. I mean, overcoming all these injuries and, offensively, he does have his weaknesses, but defensively, that's the reason why you can put him on the court. Great defensive anchor, can move his feet on the perimeter, can give you offensive rebounds, can get you defensive rebounds. He does everything to hold this Knicks together defensively. He had that one play where Jaylen Brown gets in the corner, he takes a dribble, and then, Mitchell Robinson just runs at him and just closing it out, taking up his airspace. And, it's plays like that where you can win with a player like him on the court, despite the free throws and, liabilities offensively. Like, Mitchell Robinson was such a positive in this series for the New York Knicks. It was such a great win for the Knicks. We saw PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker led the Knicks to their first conference finals in 24 years. Gotta give him credit. I want to talk about the fans too, the energy and support. Anytime the Knicks got an offensive rebound, and one, a putback dunk, made a 3, called a timeout, they went absolutely berserk. They went berserk, and that's the energy, love, support, and care they have for this Knicks team, this Knicks organization. The fans were amazing. You saw Timothy Chalamet, in his Uber or car or whatever, and then he's just, cheering on with the fans because it means that much. It means that much to the franchise. And now the Knicks are in a good spot to win an NBA championship. Let me say this. I'm from New York, Brooklyn, born and raised. New York, while it can be reckless, it's also beautiful. But with that being said, if the Knicks win the championship, like if the Knicks get to the finals or win the championship, let alone win, right? Let alone win. Like you got to call SWAT, the military, FBI. You got to call everyone because if the Knicks win the championship, it's gonna be Gotham City and Manhattan. It's gonna be Gotham City and Manhattan, and I don't know who Batman or Robin's gonna be, but nobody's gonna be able to save New York if the Knicks win a championship. But let's talk about the Celtics really quickly. Obviously, the series shifted when Tatum got injured, Achilles tore in Game 3. It was emotional. It was devastating. You saw him in the back, on the wheelchair, covering his face, basically crying because his season just ended right there, right? And he couldn't play on the court with his team. The Celtics did what they were supposed to do, which was win Game 5, and I thought that was good because you won that game for Jason Tatum. Derek White scored 32 points. Jaylen Brown had 12 assists. Never had a double-digit assist game ever in the postseason. And you won your final game in TD Garden, right? Like the Celtics could have lost that game, and the series could have ended right then and there. But the Celtics did what they were supposed to do. Avenging Jason Tatum and winning that game, extending the series to 6 games. But Game 6. Like I said, that game was over by halftime. Jaylen Brown did everything he could to put that team on his back. He just couldn't. Kristaps Porzingis tried to play, but this respiratory sickness that he has, it just took him out of the game. Jrue Holiday, I think he's one of the players that's gonna be asked to bounce. From a Celtics perspective, he was not good in this series. But yeah, I mean, the Celtics have to address the elephant in the room. Changes have to be made to this roster, and the Celtics are going to look much different because of the Jason Tatum injury for next season. And like I said, changes have to be made to the roster. They're an expensive team. You got Jason Tatum making like $50-60 million. Same with Jaylen Brown. Jrue Holiday has a good chunk of money. Same with Kristaps Porzingis, and Derek White. Like that starting 5 is expensive. So Bill Chisholm, I believe, is the new owner of the Celtics. Some work has to get done in the offseason. He has to cut some loose ends and make the Celtics salary cap somewhat manageable. I believe Al Horford will retire. I will be shocked if he comes back next year. I'm like, at that point, it's like, bro, you're the one guy that won't leave the party after everyone said the party's over. Like, it's time to leave, buddy. And I wouldn't be surprised if they get Jrue Holiday off their books, too, if they try to ship him in the offseason or just take offers on Jrue Holiday. But I believe, like, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, obviously, and Derek White, Peyton Pritchard will be the 3 to 4 guys that will remain on the roster next year. And for the Celtics, I mean, it's like, for Celtics fans, you guys are so used to winning. You have the most championships in NBA history. Like in the past 5 years, you've been to either conference finals or NBA finals. Take a back seat. Regroup. Give Tatum time to heal and recover from this injury because it's going to take a long time and it's going to be a new adjustment for the Celtics organization and the Celtic fan base. So it is what it is, right? You lost fair and square. I thought the comment from Jaylen Brown was funny, right? Losing to the Knicks feel like death. And it probably does. It's one of the most historic rivalries there is in the NBA. I'm extremely grateful that this series happened. I can see the Celtics coming back even stronger within like the next 2 years, like 2 to 3 years from now. Like it's not over. Like the Celtics will be back in a conference finals or an NBA finals pretty damn soon. But like next year, take a back seat, relax. All that winning, while it is great, it does wear and tear on your body mentally, physically, because it's hard to go back to back or win back to back titles. Like I said that, I started to think that when Jaylen Brown got fouled out. I was like, damn, it's hard to win back to back titles. Like the first one alone is extremely hard, but to go win another one, obviously, like, clearly it's hard because it hasn't been done since 2017. It's been a while, but yeah, it's not an easy task. It is not an easy task, and yes, everyone basically thought that the Celtics were going to win another title, and then we will see the start of a new dynasty. But the Knicks basically wrote another ending to the chapter. Thank you for listening to Triple Z. Appreciate you all for watching. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time.